Question 246. The judicial proceeding used to decide ownership when there is a cloud on title is called A. Suit for partition. B. Quiet title. C. Action for unclouded status. D. Partition. Correct answer is B. Quiet title. A quiet title action is a lawsuit filed to establish or clarify ownership of real property. It is used to remove clouds on title, which are any claims or encumbrances that may cast doubt on the validity of the property's ownership. The court's decision in a quiet title action establishes clear and marketable title. Question 247. A CalVet purchase loan must be applied for. A. Before a contract of sale is signed. B. Before taking title to the property. C. Within a year of the veteran's military discharge. D. Within 5 years of the veteran's military discharge. Correct answer is A. Before a contract of sale is signed. The CalVet loan program uniquely operates by having the California Department of Veterans Affairs purchase the property, then resell it to the veteran via a contract of sale. To participate, eligible veterans must apply for the CalVet loan before signing a purchase contract. There is no time limit based on the veteran's discharge date. Question 248. This statement regarding acknowledgements is correct. A. A deed composed and acknowledged out of state is legal. B. Acknowledgement by both the grantor and grantee is a requirement for a deed's validity. C. Acknowledgement can only be performed if witnessed by the county recorder in the county where the deeded property is situated. D. None of the above. Correct answer is A. A deed composed and acknowledged out of state is legal. Acknowledgement is a formal declaration before a notary public or other authorized official that the person signing a document, like a deed, is doing so voluntarily. While acknowledgement is often required for recording a deed, it is not always a requirement for the deed to be legally valid between the grantor and grantee. A deed acknowledged out of state is generally acceptable, as long as the acknowledgement meets the requirements of the state where it was performed. Only the grantor's acknowledgement is typically required. The grantee does not have to acknowledge. Acknowledgements are typically performed by notaries public, not necessarily the county recorder. Question 249. In order to balance the equities in the two properties in a tax-free exchange, money or other valuables such as cars, boats, stocks, or furniture may be added by the investor putting up the property of lesser value. That added cash or property is called A. Value-added offering. B. Supplementary valuation. C. Boot. D. Augmented equity fund. Correct answer is C. Boot. In a tax-free exchange, like a 1031 exchange, boot refers to any non-like-kind property received in the exchange. It's used to balance the equities when the exchanged properties are not of equal value. Boot can include cash, personal property, like cars, boats, etc., or even debt relief. Receiving boot can trigger a taxable event. Question 250. Is the deduction of capital expenses over a specific period of time. A. Accretion. B. Amortization. C. Hypothecation. D. Either A or B. Correct answer is B. Amortization. Accretion refers to the gradual increase of land by the deposit of alluvium, soil, from natural water action. Hypothecation is the act of pledging an asset as security for a loan without giving up possession of it. In accounting and finance, amortization refers to the systematic reduction of a debt or the spreading of capital expenses over a specific period of time. It usually applies to intangible assets such as patents, trademarks, copyrights, and franchise licenses. Question 251. Escrow instructions are: A. A unilateral contract, a promise by the escrow agent to use his best efforts to close the transaction. B. A bilateral contract between the buyer and seller. C. Non-binding on the parties. D. Required to be notarized. Correct answer is B. A bilateral contract between the buyer and seller. An escrow agent is a dual agent, since both the buyer and the seller are represented by him and he owes fiduciary duties to both. Escrow instructions are a set of written directions that outline the specific procedures and conditions that must be met for the escrow to close. The escrow instructions detail under what conditions and times the agent will distribute the money and the documents to the proper parties. They represent an agreement between the buyer and the seller, specifying the obligations of each party and the duties of the escrow agent. Therefore, they are a bilateral contract. Question 252. Which of the following parties to an agreement may not seek specific performance from the other party? A. Vendor from vendee. B. Broker seeking a commission from his principal. C. Purchaser from a property seller. D. Buyer of art from a gallery. Correct answer is B. Broker seeking a commission from his principal. Specific performance is a legal remedy that requires a party to fulfill the terms of a contract, rather than paying monetary damages. It is typically used in real estate transactions because land is considered unique. It is also used when the item is also considered unique, such as art. A vendor, seller, can seek specific performance if the vendee, buyer, fails to complete the purchase of real estate. A purchaser, buyer, can seek specific performance if the seller fails to transfer title to the real estate. Because art is seen as unique, a buyer can seek specific performance. A broker's claim for commission is typically a claim for monetary damages. Courts generally do not order specific performance to force a principal to pay a commission. The broker's remedy is to sue for the money owed. Question 253. Having suffered a stroke, Joe is considered mentally incompetent and has had a guardian appointed to protect his interests by the court. One day, Joe ventures out on his own to a department store and enters into a long-term installment contract to buy carpeting. That contract is: A. Void. B. Voidable. C. Can be remedied by the court. D. Valid, because a guardian has been appointed. Correct answer is A. Void. A voidable contract is valid unless one party chooses to disaffirm it, e.g., a contract with a minor. Since Joe was legally incompetent, the contract is automatically void, not just voidable. Because the contract is void from the beginning, there's nothing for the court to remedy. The contract simply doesn't exist in the eyes of the law. The appointment of a guardian signifies the individual's legal incompetence to handle their own affairs, including entering into contracts. The guardian, not the incompetent person, has the legal authority to enter into contracts on their behalf. Therefore, the contract is not valid. A contract entered into by a person who has been legally declared incompetent is void. This means the contract has no legal effect from the moment it was created. Because Joe had a guardian appointed by the court, he was legally deemed incompetent to enter into contracts on his own. Therefore, the carpeting contract is void. Question 254. Defeasible estates include the: A. Fee simple determinable. B. Fee simple. C. Fee simple subject to a condition subsequent. D. Both A and C. Correct answer is D. Both A and C. A defeasible estate is created when a grantor includes a condition in the deed of a fee simple estate. Upon the happening of a certain event, the estate may become void or voidable. Question 255. A tender is an offer of: A. Performance or money. B. Option to purchase a property at a later date. C. Rescission of a contract. D. Modification of a contract. Correct answer is A. Performance or money. A tender is a legal offer to either perform the actions required by a contract or to provide the money owed. This act signifies a party's clear intention and ability to meet their contractual or financial obligations.